It's been over 2 years of waiting, but we're finally back with the OA. We've got new characters, new dimensions, and new drama for our girl Prairie. Stick around as we talk about Season 2, Episodes 1 and 2, Angel of Death and Treasure Island.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Yeah, guys, we made it. 2 years later.
Man,
we're
long
back.
wait.
We're back. I'm your host, Anna K. Thomas, but I am not alone. I am joined by
Lauren Lipman.
What's up, party people? I am Erika Edwards.
Hi, I'm Lauren Hubbard.
All right, awesome, guys. So we are going to be talking about a lot today. Prairie jumped through new dimensions. We've got a new major character, Kareem, and we have a special segment that Lauren's going to be talking about later. But first, I want to hear your guys' overall thoughts. What did you think, Lauren?
Oh man, it was a long 2 years. I mean, waiting that long to know everything that was going on, all the storylines. I had to rewatch a little bit of season 1, I will say, but oh my god, I'm so excited to continue watching. I'm sucked in.
Yeah,
for
Erika?
sure.
Yeah, I really loved it. I think it has been a delay, so I did go back and at least watch the finale of episode 8 last season. Mm-hmm. And then it was so funny because halfway through I was like, is this one of those shows like American Horror? I was like, is this a totally different show?
That's what we were talking about
earlier. I don't see
anybody
that looks familiar. I was like, well, I like this cute black guy, but I don't know any of these people. And so then finally she shows up and I was still like, is this a totally different show? Because it is the same. I was like, well, maybe they're just going to have the same cast and they're doing different things because we're in San Francisco. Like, what? But yes, I'm liking it. I have a couple little interesting issues with it, but overall, I really did enjoy the first 2 episodes.
Amazing. Lauren Hubbard, what's up?
So I kind of feel like Erika, and the way I was watching, I'm like, is this a different show?
Mm-hmm.
But, I did watch the whole season, and let me just say, this season, I love it. I love it. I feel like it's definitely different from the first season. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of twists and turns that you don't see coming. So I'm just really excited to talk about it.
Amazing. Okay, and you're going to be talking about our special segment later on, which is going to be real life experiments, sort of gone wrong, things that we used to do and don't do anymore, stuff like that. So you guys definitely want to see that. Let's jump right in, shall we, with our first episode, Angel of Death. We are introduced to a new character, Kareem Washington. I've got a pick for you guys coming up, played by the actor Kingsley Ben-Adir, and we're in San Francisco. Hello.
Yeah.
So what did you guys think generally about this? We have this new game, Q Symphony, that's popping up. We have this not murder mystery, but sort of unsolved case with Michelle. So what did you guys think when we first saw Kareem? I know, Erika, you mentioned that you thought it was an anthology. Like, I did too. Mm-hmm. What is this? I was like, is Prairie here? I was like, did I get gypped Netflix? Like, what's going on?
Netflix.
So what did you guys think about Kareem's arc in the beginning? Because it was 30 minutes before we saw Prairie.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Again, I had to check Netflix to be like, did I click the right show? Like, I'm confused. But I had this moment where I recognized Michelle. Did you guys recognize Michelle in the photo?
I did. When the grandmother pulled out the photo, I'm like, she kind of looks familiar. And, the first time they show the photo, they just kind of glaze over it. So then she shows it again, and they zoom in, and I'm like, okay. They're going to connect it.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I watched it mostly on my phone, so I really didn't even see her photo that clearly because it's like my phone's not that big. Yeah. So, so I definitely didn't notice until somebody said, until she was like, oh, that's Buck or whatever. Yeah. So I definitely didn't know because I was like, I can't see her. Really,
I didn't know until we talked about that 10 seconds before we started this after show. I was like, what? It's Buck? I had no idea. She looked familiar, but I thought it was a different... The new dimensions are really messing with my head.
It's definitely a lot to keep up with. So I feel like we need to actually come up with names like season 1 dimension, season 2 dimension, because it's so hard to keep it straight.
Yeah.
Well, I did like how you asked about the game. It's kind of introducing a new way of, I guess, interdimensions into the story.
Yeah.
Because he has to play the game and figure out the correct answers or...
Yes.
He's out the game.
Something that I found really interesting, I feel like when someone, maybe just me, thinks of like a different dimension, you think of this crazy world that is just so different. And then this new dimension they jumped into is San Francisco, and people play games on their phones, and it's not that different from the dimension that we know and the dimension from season 1. And then they throw in those like small differences, like Joe Biden is president.
Yeah,
no one knows who Barack Obama
that's big,
is.
though. I think. I'm from Chicago. That's pretty big. That's pretty big. No, Barack.
Exactly.
Yeah, that was a turn off. I was like, okay.
Erica was not pleased.
I was like, pull back. Now we can still have a Barack in his new dimension.
Okay, but that's when Prairie wakes up. But I want to focus a little bit on Kareem. I got a picture coming up about the Symphony headquarters because what a crazy thing this is. So he's learning about Pierre Rushkin. We're learning about this weird, creepy sleep lab watching thing. We're learning through Kareem that there's something amiss going on. So what did you guys think about this whole sequence of him sneaking in, pretending to be the janitor, watching these kids sleeping and getting their dreams recorded? What were your first thoughts, Lauren?
Well, I thought he got in way too easily.
Yes.
Oh my god! Oh my god! I was like, first of all, for them to be techies, they have the worst security I've ever seen. Some random person you never
too.
like. You what about the thing where you have to put your eye there?
Yeah.
And like
I was like, wow, he's
how is
sly.
he just walking around looking at stuff? I was like, they don't have cameras. I know this is a warehouse, older looking place, but aren't you all in technology?
Yes.
I'm just saying, you all have the worst security I've ever seen.
They pulled the like old school, we'll just wear the janitor's clothes. No one will recognize you. I was like, okay.
Well, not even just that. He hit their car, and he's like, "I'll give you $400." And they're like, "Okay."
They're like, sure.
why
And I
not?
was like,
I'll risk my
didn't you
job.
have to pass something to work for these people?
No
Like,
place
what
in
do you
America
mean?
is that okay. That would never
Exactly.
fly
No.
anywhere, especially Los Angeles or San Francisco,
right.
okay?
Especially San
Although
Francisco.
what I did like about that particular scene, although all of that was really goofy or whatever, that did give you an implication into some of his background because he immediately started speaking to them in their language.
He did.
And earlier he didn't know any Vietnamese, so I was like, well, it's good that you know something, and so that was nice.
Arabic.
And,
Erica's coming in hot, y'all.
I loved that because he, because at first he was like, well, I don't know this. Can you translate and all this stuff? And then all of a sudden, instantly.
Snaps.
So I kind of felt like that scene, I don't want to say filler, but that scene was to give us something other than, because it didn't really make the most sense how he got in.
I feel like that scene was to like build his character.
Yeah,
Yes.
to give you a little bit insight
Yes.
into him in some sort of kind of random way.
Yes.
And to also show you that although these are good IT people, they're not good security people. So,
I know.
a combination
when he's looking
of
at
that.
the sleep lab, he goes
just
up
opens
in
up.
the air ducts, the vents, and it's just like he's looking over. Everyone's sleeping up, and no one notices.
Yeah.
I
I'm
can't.
still like, how do you not have security cameras? How is there not someone, some guard like, who is this random person walking around that I've never seen? How is there
And
no
it's
person?
just so easy to pull that panel and just kind of sit there for a little bit,
Absolutely.
right?
Yes.
A little unbelievable, but you know what? We love him.
Yes,
Absolutely.
I'm a fan.
He is a cutie. I am a fan of him.
He's a
too.
cutie. I got some eye candy for you guys a little later. Just wait for that. But let's jump in. Our girl Prairie. Okay, she wakes up. We see her on the boat in San Francisco as Nina Azarova. Different upbringing. She's not blind. Her dad just passed away. She didn't lose her dad when she was a child. This was 30 minutes into the episode. We finally see Prairie / Nina. What were your thoughts when you saw her on the boat?
When we heard her speak Russian, when she was like, "I'm coming for you," or like something like that, like I can't do a Russian accent, but I was just like, I kind of screamed because I was like waiting for her or some type of familiarity from season 1 to like show up on screen. I didn't know it was 30 minutes in. And so I thought that was like a really interesting storyline.
The credits were 30 minutes in, yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I didn't like think about that. And then suddenly when she just like felt the like gunshot wound like from the other dimension, I had this moment. I was like, she's having a heart attack. And then I was watching it with friends, and I was just kind of like, oh, it's the dimensions. She's jumping. That was just like super, super crazy.
Mind blown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess the fact that they have the same exact names. And do you guys wonder where the other person goes?
Where's Nina? Where's
Well,
the
they
real
talk.
Nina?
Oh, I bet this is one of Erica's.
Oh my gosh!
The holes. It's a hole.
Not only is it a hole, like it's a black hole. Like here's my issue with it. Not so much that I was wondering, and this is also because I think this is in episode 1 and 2. So I'm sorry if it's not. But my issue
Spoiler alert.
was when the doctor asked her, where do the people go? And she's like, I don't care. And I was like, what you mean you don't care? Like, I get it that we don't know where they're going, but I'm like, you should kind of give something.
yeah, that's like
because I'm like, well, if you all are jumping, are the other people, where do the people go?
I think she said she doesn't care because Hap is a monster.
No, I mean, I
which
get
we'll talk about later.
I get that, but she really, to me, didn't seem like she cared.
Yeah, she didn't.
I mean, I get what you're saying as far as in the discussion, but she definitely was kind of like, well, I don't care where she went. And I was like, yeah, I don't want you to be worried because you have bigger fish to fry, no doubt. But I'm curious, and like I'm not bleeding for this rich Nina, but I'm curious, is she just sleep inside you? Is she in another dimension that she doesn't know about? So that that part I was kind of like, come on, you guys, give us something.
Mm-hmm. I do feel like she is in another dimension. The real Nina Askarova. I feel like she is in another dimension.
I don't understand.
I do, and my thing to the person
It
who's
hurts
seen it
my
at
little
the
peanut
end,
brain.
my brain thinks, okay, like, because whatever. I'm not gonna say anything else, but because I'm like, was that episode 3 or not? But
Girl.
but here's my thing. Here's my thing though. Like, if you jump into my body without me, like, we need some agreements or something because
You have to take over my life, my
not,
pet's house.
not even that. Where are you sending me? You know what I'm saying? And I wasn't planning on going anywhere. Like, I feel like they need to have some regulation entity to say, if you're jumping, then the other person, has to be, because you're not prepared to jump.
Yeah,
So
and you
that
don't know
whole
their
thing-
lifestyle either. So you're not. What do they
Right,
do on a daily? What is their
I want to jump
occupation?
up. If I'm gonna jump, I want
Yes.
to jump up.
Same.
Like, I want to
jumped
jump
up
into
into
that
a-
apartment,
she jumped
or
up into
like
a penthouse.
I want to jump
Exactly.
into a houseboat in San Francisco on the wharf. You know what I mean?
That's like somebody showing up to your place, like, oh, I'm here for the Airbnb, and you're like, but I live here. You know what I mean?
Like, take my body.
Like, I know you're here for a week, but this is where I live, and I didn't apply for Airbnb. I didn't put my apartment up there, so why are you at my place? So that was like that whole. Hopefully, by the end of the season, they'll kind of at least give us an explanation for that. But I think that you can jump and force somebody out issue, and you not like a demon. Like, you're not really evil. You just,
Oh my God.
Without giving a spoiler, they
right,
do. They do.
I'm just saying, you're not on vacation.
Okay.
On a
and-
vacation.
Okay.
Oh, I love it.
So, guys,
Yeah.
if you're just tuning in, Lauren Hubbard has watched the entire season. I know a lot of you guys have, but we're going episode by episode, 2 episodes per show here.
Yes.
And so she's our resident expert on sort of everything that's been happening.
And I'm like halfway through.
And Erika's like halfway.
And I can't remember. Like, I think I'm like
Which
at 4.
episode is
So I'm
which,
just
yeah.
like, was
Oh, man.
this 2 or 4? But I'm gonna do my best because I'm pretty sure I know the first 2. But so I'm not gonna spoil it for anyone who hasn't already seen it. But yeah.
All right, what do you guys think about Prairie doing the FaceTime with Nancy, her mom in the other
Wow.
dimension?
I got
Powerful,
I
right?
got chills
Yeah.
watching that. Like, out of the amount of times that like Nancy has just tried to connect with Prairie and be like, you're my daughter, talk to me. Why don't you talk about this experience? You were missing for 7 years, you can see, and you won't tell me what you did. And then in this other dimension, she goes and she thanks Nancy, and it 100% doesn't even matter because it's Nancy's like, I don't know who you are, but you're creepy that you know all these details about my
It kind
life.
of scares Nancy.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
she's kind of like,
Yeah.
she's like, at first she's like, I don't know you. And then she's kind of like, how do you know me?
Yeah.
But she
Right.
has to leave because she doesn't even want to know, you know?
Because she is just, Prairie comes in with all these details and it's just like, how did you know where we adopted our son? Maybe it wasn't the most legal way that we went. And I thought it was so interesting that Prairie in Nina's body just had this like feeling of, I wish that I would have thanked her in that dimension. I wish I would have thanked her sooner and that she felt like she needed to thank this total stranger. And it just was too late.
I liked that scene a lot. I did think it was very touching, but there was something sort of, I think in this particular episode for me that was unsettling where I felt like Prairie was just like too quick to just trust everybody. Like that doctor was like, oh, okay, yeah, it's fine. Just sign your life away.
I know.
And
I
was
knew,
like,
you knew some ish was
Yeah.
going down.
but not even that, but not so much. I mean, I get that. But to me, she just was like, well, she was a little too trusting. And then it kind of took her the whole adjustment to, I think that's one of my little peeves with these, because I also watched the show Sense8. And that was, an issue I had with them where like, once you kind of realize that you're in a different place, like every few minutes to be like, oh my gosh, it's different here. I'm like, okay, yeah, we got it. And then, oh my gosh, it's different here.
We get it. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you didn't know. Oh my gosh, she wasn't blind. Like every single time I was like, okay, you're in a different dimension, Prairie.
She's realizing it as we go.
I
Erika.
get it. But I'm like,
You're like, okay, we understand.
I'm like, well, it's really not a Prairie issue as it is an editor issue. Editor, we got it.
Oh.
But yeah,
Shots
no.
fired.
Spill the tea.
No, and I really enjoyed it. But that scene with her mother was. But I think also though at the very end of it, I think she kind of she obviously didn't understand what was going on. But at the end, I think she wasn't as freaked, and she was just like, well, I hope you find who you're looking for.
Yes.
So I think at the end, she really had sort of a connection with Prairie, which I thought was nice.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to be talking a little bit about who Prairie finds at Treasure Island. But first, Erika, anything to tell our viewers?
All right, you guys, that was a marvelous transition. So here we go. Before we move on to our next topic, we just want to say thank you for making us the ESPN of TV Talk. For us to continue to grow, though, we could use your help. So make sure you subscribe on YouTube. You give us ratings on iTunes. We're also on SoundCloud. Leave us a comment. Engage with us during the chat, and we will definitely shout you out. But make sure you subscribe and let us know you subscribed, and we definitely will give you a shout out. And thank you so much for being a part of AfterBuzz, and it has meant so much to us because, that's how we became the ESPN of TV Talk. So subscribe, comment, and certainly leave comments after the live airing because these comments don't stay. So we need the other ones as well. And give us a thumbs up. If you've been here this long, it's only going to get better. So
absolutely, yes. And now we are back with Chapter 2, Treasure Island. Our girl Prairie, man, she's had a rough go at it. Episode 1 was tough. Episode 2 gets tougher. What I want to talk about now is Homer. That is a major, major plot point in this episode. Prairie realizing Homer is the only one out of Rachel, Scott, Renata, Hap. She's the only one left who doesn't remember the previous dimension. And so Prairie's desperately trying to get Homer to connect and realize what's happening. And how did you guys feel watching this? Like watching her struggle, watching him not remember, watching glimmers of him trying to remember.
Frustrated and sad.
Yeah.
I just want them to be together. Like those scenes from season 1 of them touching hands through the glass is just, ooh, those got to me. Those just it
didn't do anything for me. I gotta honestly, because I didn't see them as in love. I saw the love as a friendship love, not like a sexual love. If that makes sense.
So it does make sense. I think the reason that I feel like they had some type of romantic connection is just it might also just be prisoner mentality when you're trapped underground with someone, a bunch of people for 7 years.
It's like The Bachelor.
Yeah.
I mean,
yes, shade, love it. It was frustrating to watch. He does look good with the beard, though. I will say, looks very good with the beard. It was frustrating to watch, and then me and my friends were sitting there trying to dissect and figure it out. So was he really sitting there? Maybe he really does know. Maybe he's putting on an act. That's where my head went at first. I was like, maybe he's putting on an act because he knows who Hap, Dr. Rob Percy really is. But maybe he has to put on this front in front of him. I've got a whole lot of thoughts. A whole lot of thoughts.
Yeah, and I kind of feel the same because part of me is who's to say he actually jumped? So I was like, I don't know where the new Homer is because the whole thing about so much with their near-death experiences intersecting, and it's I saw this hand, but it wasn't my hand, and all that other stuff. Because I was like, well, because part of me is well, he is here, and she's like, well, that's you up there running around. So then I was like, well, he didn't jump into 2 bodies, so maybe this person legitimately doesn't remember because Homer hasn't made the jump yet. But, I haven't seen that part.
I love that part.
But that was the part, because I was kind of because to me, since they all clearly remember, I was like, dang, Homer didn't make it. That's how I took it. Yeah. He didn't actually jump. And because this guy clearly has distinct memories of the new life, which they don't have of their new lives. Yeah. So that's what made me think he hadn't actually made it, or if he did make it, he's sleeping there. I don't know, but that's what made me think
wouldn't old Homer recognize new Prairie?
Yes, but we haven't seen them interact yet, right? Because I feel like this whole time this is a time travel thing.
Wouldn't old Homer know new Prairie / Nina?
Right, absolutely.
So
yeah. Wait. Old Homer, if he had jumped, he would.
No, if he didn't jump, if he's stuck. If he's still the Homer that was trapped in the basement,
right,
at Hap's place,
right,
wouldn't he recognize Nina / Prairie in this new dimension?
But if he didn't jump, then how? Yeah.
No, because this Homer doesn't go to
doesn't play football.
Doesn't play football. Yeah. Doesn't have all of that stuff. And so I don't think that they.
No, he does play football.
Right. He didn't get the.
He didn't get the injury. I thought he.
Oh no,
he didn't
the
get,
NDE.
He didn't get the NDE. That's
right.
What it was.
But I thought he. I thought he played, but he wasn't very good. That's why he became the psychiatrist or whatever. So I think now, as him treating the new Nina, I'm not convinced necessarily that without the NDE that they would have had their relationship.
Interesting.
Well, see, I think at first I was kind of like you. Okay, maybe he's playing. Mm-hmm. Maybe he's playing with them. Maybe he has some plan to, break them out. But then they showed the flashback. he was the one that ran away at first. Remember, he injected all in the neck?
Yeah.
I was thinking, okay, maybe they were all kind of willing to give it a chance, but he wanted out.
You're right. Ooh,
So
that's a good
maybe
point.
that's why he did not get into that body. Maybe that's why he can't remember.
Right.
Because
Right.
he didn't even want to be there.
he didn't want to escape as much as the others.
Right. Because to me, I've always, so far, I should say, what I've seen so far, and then especially, like, even, I definitely didn't think he was, like, pretending. Because when he called the police, I was like, dude, forget it. So, yeah, I definitely don't think he's pretending, because he just, he definitely seems like the other person. So, my whole thing was like, wow, he chose, like you said, either he chose not to go. I was like, I don't think, if he's there, he's not in his body. So, I was like,
I feel like there's some like bigger purpose that we haven't gotten to
Oh,
yet
yeah,
of
no, I
why
agree.
he hasn't jumped and like why. Yeah.
Lauren Hubbard is like,
I know,
"Hee hee."
like,
Right,
oh, don't spoil
and
anything.
also I do feel like, or not to go to what you said, not that he would recognize her, but I do feel like, this is the new person, but the attraction is still there, because even though he doesn't recognize her, he's
still-
looking at her picture, he's still becoming obsessed with her
Yeah.
like he did before.
Yeah.
So I think their souls do have some sort of intertwining connection for sure.
And he wants to help her.
Yeah,
Yes,
like
he
in
does.
any
He's got a soft
dimension,
spot
you know what
for
I'm
her.
saying?
Yeah.
But I think it's just taking a different route because, you know what I'm saying?
Love in any dimension.
Yeah, in any dimension, because I do think that. So yes, to get to that point, I don't think he would recognize her, but I do feel like no matter what, he would always have been drawn to her.
Okay, amazing.
point. Love
All
that.
right, let's jump to our other plot line. So we realize through Kareem that Michelle and Marlo disappeared at the same time. So it's a huge sort of like crack in his case, a key, and Kareem goes and meets Marlo, and we meet this like fun character. I've got a picture for you guys up here.
she's
I
funny.
like Marlo.
Me too.
I think she's got a lot of like zest to her.
Yeah, she's sassy.
Erica has thoughts.
I love her. Now here's the thing, because when you said you're gonna show your sexy picture,
Oh,
I literally
it's coming.
I literally thought she did that on purpose to get his clothes off.
Okay, that's what
I love that.
We gotta
Okay.
go. We gotta go,
Okay.
guys. The guys might jump out for this, but ladies, I got some eye candy for you.
Yes,
I've
I
got shirtless Kareem coming up
Ooh,
right
it was
now.
good.
I mean,
Yes.
I was like, she gonna make a comic. Cause I seen too many shows with dirty old
Yeah.
ladies. I was
Oh my
like,
goodness.
go ahead. But she was
Oops,
very calm the
you
whole
have to
time.
get my drone.
Right. She was
Yeah.
very calm.
You have to
with
take
it,
off your
so.
shirt to prove you're not wearing a wire. Yeah, that's the reason.
Exactly. I was like, I was like, I get you. I get
I
you.
wonder
Yeah.
if he got in shape for that scene, because his arms
he is
and his
Yeah.
he has a little wrist. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
Nice little
I see
body.
you. I see
do
you.
we think some sort of, friendship sort of parallel? Will Marlo be helping Kareem throughout the show? What do we think about that relationship forming?
I feel like when he introduced himself and we actually got a little bit more character development on him and he talked about his time like doing some not so great things, like when he worked for the CIA, the CIA or the FBI. How he did some things that he's not proud of that crossed a moral line that he wasn't proud of. He was trying to like relate to her to be like, is that why you left Curry? Thank you. He was like, is that why you left the company Curie? Did they cross a moral line? And she was like, no. So yes, I definitely think that they will form some type of bond, whether or not it's like he tries to help her do things that she couldn't do. She just like was like, so they crossed a line, so I have to leave, and he's kind of digging a bit deeper for that. So yeah, I think that they're gonna have some type of like relationship where they help each other out, a little friendship.
Yeah, I
Hopefully that's
agree.
it.
I think she's going to be more like the sort of like the advisor on how this world works. Like, this is the world that we're created. These are the laws of this world, as opposed to your moral and ethical laws. So I think it'll be an interesting dynamic, because I don't think she cares that much about what's going on with the kids. She's like, no, but you just can't bring your, this isn't Freddy Krueger. You can't bring your dreams all in here. So I think it'll be an interesting dynamic, because she's not going to be like that heartfelt old lady that's going to be like, do what's true and what's right. She's going to be like, no, I'm about the science, and you don't break these rules of science. So I think it'll be an interesting mentor sort of mentee relationship.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know, because I do know, but I'm not going to say.
That's what's so hard with big
I
shows.
know.
Oh my God.
The reason why I say that is because she left the company for her safety and for her protection. So if she helps him too much, what will happen to her? Because eventually he's going to go looking for the answers.
That's true, but she is a little long in the tooth. Although I want her to survive forever, but she's not like a young 20 with the rest of her life. I'm just saying. But I do want her to be okay. I'm not wishing ill on anyone. I would never do that. But, this our last few years. Go out with a bang.
Help while you can.
Go out with a bang.
Live your best life.
Enjoy your life, flying your drone with the crows, making men take their shirt
gosh,
off.
I know. She still got it, guys.
Not a bad way
well,
to go.
through Marlo, we learn more about this house, right? So this house, in episode 1, we see the guy jump out the window, that young gamer, and we realize this house is tied to Nina/Prairie, and we come to learn that the house is sort of the epicenter of Pierre Ruskin's stuff.
Yeah.
Who knows what it means?
Right.
Oh, Lauren's got some tea.
So I actually wrote a quote that he said before
Love
he
it.
jumped. He said, "I've seen a million versions of myself." When he was in that house.
Oh, right.
So think about that. The show is about dimensions and traveling. And that stood out to me. I'm like, what does he know?
Yeah.
I mean, he jumped out the
interesting.
window, but I feel like that connects. That's going to show something throughout the story later.
Definitely. I think that's sorry to interrupt. I think that has to do something with so I love that the augmented reality is like such a thing when Kareem was experiencing it for the first time. I wonder if once you get past a certain level, when you go to this house specifically, you can't see it to the naked eye, but maybe it shows you something on your phone screen where you like see different versions of yourself and it just kind of like drives you mad. Like maybe that's like
Right.
the next level to get to $1 million. You have to go crazy and then they give you money.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I was going to say, do you guys think that there's some things that once you see them, you can't unsee them and it's driving these people crazy?
Oh,
Yes,
definitely.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, although I think that to some extent, I think there's something out there that the inventor guy or whatever is kind of trying to
Pierre.
solve, Pierre, and that is sort of beyond his control. So I don't think necessarily he's trying to drive people crazy, but there's something out there that I think because he's really just trying to make money, that even he's not aware of that. Yeah, like once you see it or once you figure it out, it's some sort of essence of itself that's gonna like.
I wonder, because it's like a puzzle.
Right.
So I'm wondering if he couldn't solve it. So he's trying to get other
Pierre.
people.
Yeah,
Probably.
absolutely.
Zendaya did.
But he made it, didn't he?
No. I do agree. I think it's kind of like
My little brain.
because remember the basketball girl was like that's how he gets his money. He gets these other geniuses to solve a question that he has. So that's what I'm saying. I think there's something that he kind of is halfway aware of but doesn't really know the answer to.
Yeah, I
and it
think
is
so.
causing these people to like go crazy
crazy.
or kill themselves or whatever it is doing. So I think he's aware of it, but I absolutely don't think he knows the answer. That's why he's.
Very
You were making me want to go back and watch
I
that
know,
gamer
there's
scene
so many
and turn
little
on
things.
the subtitles where I hear the things that he's muttering because I just was like watching him like what is he about to do? I didn't listen to
He
what he
scared
said.
me when he came up behind him.
I
I was like,
was like a puzzle. I was like, is that Zendaya?
Yes, right.
oh, she's.
Oh yeah.
Speaking of
very
which,
excited about
it is time for one of my favorite parts of the show. We have got our news and gossip with Lauren Lipman.
Yes. Very excited about this.
All right, hit us, girl.
All right, so you know how much I love that news and gossip. So why don't we start with the fact that Zendaya made
Hello.
an unexpected appearance?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that was so exciting to me. She looks so good in this character. I had to take look at that. Gorgeous. Ugh, love her.
She's perfect.
In this character she's playing, I had a moment of like, is that her? Is that her? She was so like in her element that I was like, ooh, Zendaya's killing it. Doing
Yeah.
that method acting.
Yeah.
And then another fun bit of interesting news. So Brit Marling, OA, the co-creator, writer, star of this show. Fun fact about Brit Marling, in the summer of 2009, she joined a group of freegans with friend and co-worker, I can't say his name, Zal Batmanglij, the other co-creator of the show.
Also directs a bunch of the episodes
Yes,
too.
yes, definitely. Super talented. Both of them were friends and they lived in tents and retrieved food from dumpsters to explore how other young people were constructing a meaningful life. That's what freeganism is.
I'm out.
Did they say why?
No. Online, freeganism is often presented as synonymous with dumpster diving. They did it to find out how other young people construct a meaningful life. So it's just interesting to see like where the creator of the show kind of like learned and chose certain methods to study. So
Don't get me wrong, Brit's a creative genius. Even when she was
seriously.
pitching the show, she had basically a loose script, but not really, and they just went in and acted things out. So she's just like a really interesting, creative,
Yeah.
free mind.
Oh,
Does
cool.
not surprise me that she tried freeganism. Not for moi, but I applaud you, Brit.
Yeah, no, I mean, to be able to like think of a show like this, I don't know the methods that you have to go to. And then my last little fun piece of news and gossip is that Brad Pitt's company, Plan B Entertainment, actually produced this show, season 1 and 2.
Oh, cool.
I had no idea. I only really saw Brad Pitt's name in the credits season 2.
Same.
Episode 1. Yep.
Yeah.
Right? But yeah, Plan B Entertainment is run by Brad Pitt, and they created the show. Or they produced it, rather. Brit created it.
Very
Cool.
interesting.
Yes,
All right,
it's
amazing.
fun
Thank you,
facts.
Lauren Lipman, for our news and gossip. And now, moving on to our other Lauren Hubbard. So since this show is all about experimentation, especially with Hap being like this mastermind of everything, we thought it'd be cool to talk about experiments in real life, gone wrong, things that weren't as good as they
work out.
seem.
Yeah.
So tell us more about it.
So this week we're going to talk about isolation therapy because, as many of you know, they have Prairie and the rest of her cast in isolation. So isolation is the experience of being separated from others. It may result from being physically separated, such as person living in a remote area. It can also be someone emotionally removed from a community. So I feel like she has been in both. She was physically separated in season 1, and now, actually, I feel like Homer is in emotional isolation in this one.
Ooh, for sure.
Yeah.
It's a good point.
Yeah, but it's not just in this show. You know, they do it in prison. They put you in solitary confinement. You know what I mean?
As punishment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You brought up a good point earlier when you say, you know, if your parents punish you, go to your room. You're by
let me
yourself.
take your
You
phone, let me take your
think
stuff.
about your actions. So, I mean,
timeout.
Yeah. Do you guys know any other ways people are put into isolation confinement these days?
I mean, one could argue and get real deep here for a moment, like our phones are kind of like this way that we connect people online as opposed to like sitting down and chatting with someone.
Very true.
There's some type
Definitely.
of like isolation that like kind of comes with that.
Yeah.
Because like obviously there are good parts to social media and obviously there are bad parts to it, and it's like I feel like it gets crossing the line of the bad part when
Totally.
you text
Oh,
your
yeah.
friends instead of talking to them in real life.
Or even if you indulge in too much negative social media,
Oh, yeah.
that can start to affect your mood and emotions. So, you know.
That's true. That's true. I agree.
So some cell phone isolation could be good every now and then.
Very true.
Throw it away.
But yeah, we see sort of this isolation with Prairie and, you know, how people are seeing it as treatment for her when really all she wants to do is go out and connect and figure out what the heck is going on. So for her, the isolation is her downfall.
Yeah.
It's crazy to me that that's still happening. Like Homer, like season 2 Homer, the new Dr. Homer, literally is being the one to tell Dr. Percy, I don't think that she should be in isolation. I think we should put her into the groups with other people. And Hap, obviously, he has his own ultimatum, his own goal there. He's just like, no, isolation. And he's like, are you sure we really should be treating the patients as patients because he's taking his career seriously? But Hap's got other plans. Dr. Percy. I don't know what to call him.
What's interesting, I think, also with this dimension, and I don't know as much, but it's so interesting how much power Hap has, sort of over, her confinement. And that was why I had that whole issue with her just signing away like 14 days of her life.
God.
Like it was
God.
nothing. Because the woman was like, yeah, it's going to happen anyway. And I was like, okay, I know you jumped into a new body, but you are from America. Like, come on, you don't
research.
And
Google.
Right, and there just seemed like there's so very few checks and balances in this system. He's just like, well, yeah, just put her, put her in this hole forever. And the new Homer is just like, okay, and then you're just gonna like. He was so quick to lie to the police. Just the whole background behind what allows Hap to really move like he's moving within this institution is just amazing and kind of really frightening.
It really is.
It is.
And you would think, to me, a huge red flag to Homer, even though he doesn't believe, when they finally get all in a room together, why does he go in there and just separate everyone? That should be like, okay, what's really going on?
She's like, why do you think he's doing this? If we're not a danger, if this didn't really happen, why is he separating us?
And that is like a moment where I think Homer's starting to like turn and be like, why are you doing this? You're not looking out for the goodness of your patients.
Yeah, but then he goes and talks to Hap, and he's like, oh, maybe I'm just like, overthinking it. I'm like, no, he didn't rip anyone else apart. But as soon as he saw them talking, they had to
never
be
let them
separated.
communicate ever again.
Although I do think there was a scene when he's talking to Hap where you realize that it's all about them doing this quote unquote research on these community group dreams or whatever it is. And I was like, he loves Hap, but you know, Hap has sold him this bill of goods on his career that he's allowing it to just do all these things that, you know, so you have to kind of look at his ethics, because it's like whether he believes him or doesn't believe him, he's more, you know, I think at this point in the series anyway, he's more concerned about moving his career forward.
Definitely. Very interesting.
Yeah, he did say he was studying under him for 3 years.
Yes, he definitely looks up to him. And Dr. Percy / Hap is clearly in love with the OA, Prairie. He has this, like, connection to her. I
think he's obsessed. He wants to know how she did what she did.
He's obsessed with his own success.
Yes.
Guys, if you're watching right now, leave us a note in the comments if you think that's true, because that's a pretty bold
I think that's true because when Homer was flown to go seduce Renata, it was Hap's doing to put them getting it on the microphone to mess with Prairie, to get into her head.
Okay, and
that's why he did that, to be like, look, she doesn't love you, I'm breaking you down.
And then also, the only reason why I feel that OA escaped and he put her on that road was because she and Homer finally touched. So I absolutely feel like his jealousy was like, now you're out, and this is your punishment for that. So I do agree with you. I mean, I do feel like he is obsessed with her, and he does have some sort of, and I think I'm not going to say anything. But yeah, I'm not going to do any predictions because it's too creepy.
Let's do it. Well, it's
now,
that time of the show,
predictions
guys.
are too tough.
No,
But
we're going to do it. Guys, we are going to do predictions right now.
Your AfterBuzz TV.
All right. I'm going to start with my girl Lauren Hubbard at the end.
Okay. What am I predicting?
Who has seen it all, guys?
Yes.
But don't
So maybe I
spoil.
shouldn't say my prediction. Maybe I should say what I want to happen.
Yes.
So that's what I'll say.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. What I would like to happen is for Kareem to figure out the case within the next episode or two. And then, you know what I mean? So that because obviously they're in different dimensions, right? And maybe if they find each other, they'll all be in one dimension.
All right.
Okay.
True.
Okay.
So let's say a little bit further, but whatever. We'll do the prediction. So one, I do agree. I do feel like he is actually obsessed, and I think that's why she was like
Hap, you mean?
Yeah, she was like his helper and stuff in season 1, and so I do think that I think his obsession with her beyond just his research is going to come. We're going to find out about it. But I am hoping, although I don't think this is going to happen, but what I want is, since Homer didn't make it, you could hook up with Kareem, girl. It's been a long time.
We want to see that.
We want to see a little interracial dating. Make it happen. Yeah, that's what I would like to happen. Because, Kareem seemed like he's been lonely on that boat or whatever. So
No, he has this pregnant,
Yes.
we don't know who she's really pregnant by, because he didn't want kids, and I feel like he probably made sure he doesn't have any. But we'll see. We will see.
Okay, Lauren Lipman.
So my predictions. The way that episode 2 ended was with Rachel dying at the hand of Dr. Percy because she saw something that just outraged her, and she just
Got a
stabbed
photo
him.
for that,
Yes,
too?
it was really crazy. And so I have this weird prediction that he's housing some type of bodies over there. Maybe it's the real Homer, or I don't know what she could have seen. I'm thinking some oh God, I can't even think of that. Inception, where there's people sitting there like in another reality, in their heads. Maybe he has the 5 people in the room. That is a crazy prediction.
Right.
But I also feel like the way they ended episode 2 was with Rachel dying, blood's coming out of her head, and then they go into the mirror, back into the other dimension of Buck's mirror. I think that somehow Rachel has just jumped dimensions back to the season 1 dimension, and is somehow gonna connect with Buck, and they're
agree.
gonna something's gonna happen there.
I completely agree.
That's our prediction.
My prediction also has to do with Rachel and that last scene when the guy who jumped out of the window in episode 1, they get his body, right? And they take out that plant, that seed, and Hap says inside every brain is a little seed, and it starts sprouting. I don't know how to describe it. The best way I can describe is what I think Rachel saw is some sort of brain farm, some sort of I know,
Actually, you just blew my mind.
So I think that there's something about, even though they didn't focus on it, it definitely was a prominent thread, and I think there's going to be something about that in
he's just harvesting those little brain worms.
Yeah,
Something.
I agree, because I do feel like whatever that is that he's pulling out of their head has to be someplace growing. So I agree with you. I do feel like it's in there doing something.
But then for a second, you know when you watch these shows, right, and you get really into it and you're like invested in the world, I was like, oh my God, are there like, do we have plants in our brain? Like, I was like, what if we all have little seeds and like they're in there and we don't know about it? But I was a neuroscience major. I know that's not true.
More importantly, why do I have to go to expensive ass San Francisco to get my seed to grow? You know what I'm saying? I want my seed to grow in my nice little apartment in the hood in Los Angeles.
Oh my gosh.
That would be lovely.
All right, guys, any final thoughts before we wrap up today?
Final thoughts. I want to say one of my favorite like quotes of season 2, episode 2 that I watched. So at the very end, when they all reunited and were able to touch for the first time in 7 years in the new dimension, this was Prairie, Scott, and Rachel. That sweet moment between Prairie and Scott when they were just like holding each other, and he's like, "We've never touched, have we? Like this is insane." I got chills, and I was just like, "Oh my God!" Like 7 years, and they've been through so much together. They brought Scott back to life. I just like really love that. And at one point when
And
they
I
were
like
talking
Scott
about,
now because I did not like him season 1. So.
He was just he also told Hap that she was blind. Ugh, so much hate towards Scott, but I'm a fan now. When they were talking about how Renata is not there with them, like she thinks that that's the crazy part of her brain talking. Scott said, "Don't take Renata personal. Dr. Roberts has her convinced that what happened to us is the crazy part of her brain talking. That's a worse cage than what Hap had us in."
Yeah.
I liked that quote because in order to be trapped in your brain and be told that something that happened to you was crazy that's madness.
And I think that relates to a bigger part about what I love about the OA is that I think we can extrapolate different parts of humanity and apply it to ourselves, right? So that idea of like being trapped in your own head, how many of us have had that happen to us, right? Where you're just thinking about the same thing, or you don't feel self-confident, or this or that. You harbor over the past, and you get trapped in your own head. This is a very dramatized version of that, but isn't it reality about human nature?
Right.
You know?
I agree. And I think my favorite part, I don't remember the exact quote actually, but I will next week, was actually in the very beginning. I really liked that scene when Kareem was like, tell her that after 72 hours, most girls are be dead or I won't find her. And the guy was like, I can't translate that. And he was like, no, I'm saying it, tell it. And he told it, and the woman was just like, I don't care, find her. And he was like, okay, it's on. So I felt like we saw both his character, like he's been through so much that he's not going to sugarcoat anything for anyone because whatever he's been through. And the grandmother's kind of quest for the truth, like even if Michelle's gone, I need to know to have a resolution. So that I think was my favorite scene.
Absolutely. Any last words?
Yeah, I just really like that Prairie is a fighter, and I think she's definitely going to fight for her team to try and get out. So stay fighting.
Lord knows all.
Yeah.
For real.
Yes, she does.
All right, guys, thanks so much for being here. I am your host for today, Anna K. Thomas. You can find me on all social media, especially Instagram, at Anna K. Thomas. And to my left,
I'm Lauren Lipman. You guys can find me on Instagram, on YouTube, and on Twitter, all under Lauren Lipman. Come say hi.
What's up, party people? I'm Erika Edwards, and you can follow me on all of my social media at Erika, ERIKA, as in door, Edwards.
Hi, and I am Lauren Hubbard. You can follow me on social media at Lauren the Truth.
all right, guys, we will see you back here next Thursday at 8 p.m. for episodes 3 and 4. You don't want to miss it. Thanks for being here, guys. We love you. Peace out for now.
Bye.
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 Our founder, Kevin Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.